Hello, and welcome to another week of Central Reads, our 2024 Bible reading plan. This week in Central Reads, we are reading from the book of Revelation. Revelation is the one book in the New Testament that I didn't give us the entire thing to read, in part because it's a little longer, but also it's because it's so easy to completely misunderstand Revelation. Revelation is a very confusing book, and it is not at all obvious or easy to read, in part because of the genre that it was written in. And so the chapters that we are reading, the first few chapters are actually letters to different churches around Asia Minor that are kind of like each little introductions to the rest of the letter, addressed to these 7 churches throughout Asia Minor. And then there's 2 chapters that we're reading that are kind of inside peeks into the throne room of God. I actually preached a sermon about these a few weeks ago in the end of the politics series. And then the last 2 chapters of Revelation are kind of this image and vision of the new heavens and the new earth, when God will bring heaven and earth together and kind of remake it, new heaven and new earth. And they're beautiful. You know, this is the most beautiful thing in the entire world. But the book of Revelation is, well, for one thing, it's Revelation, not Revelations. A lot of people call it the book of Revelations. It's not. It's just one revelation. It's one image. It's really a vision that God gave to this guy John the Elder of Patmos. There's debate whether this is the same John who wrote the Gospels and the letters of John or not. I don't think it tends to matter if it's the same or not, but there is some debate about that. But what Revelation is it's not a bunch of predictions of what's going to happen in the future. I know that it's easy to read Revelation and think, oh, they're talking about this politician, they're talking about this situation, they're talking about World War III or something like that. And that's not what the book of Revelation is about. The book of Revelation is apocalyptic literature. Apocalyptic literature was a form of literature. It was a genre that was pretty particular to the Jewish people, and they developed this form of literature as a way of writing about what God is doing in the midst of a culture where they are being persecuted or where there's an empire over them. And it was a way, for one thing, apocalyptic literature is resistance literature. It was a way of writing about what God is doing and the empire not being able to detect it, not being able to know it. And so that's what the book of Revelation is. And the reason that it was written, really, was to encourage the churches and the Christians to stay faithful and to remain strong and to bear witness to Jesus, to follow the Lamb in the midst of a world that was going against it. That's really what Revelation is all about. It's not about the future, about scaring you and all this sort of stuff. It's about encouraging you and giving you strength for whatever you're facing, because if we are following Jesus faithfully, the world will be against us. And that's what Revelation is really kind of all about at its core. There's lots of crazy imagery in Revelation. There's wild imagery of dragons and beasts and fires and bowls of wrath and this, that, and the other thing. Apocalyptic literature is highly metaphorical. It's metaphors on top of metaphors. And if we try to decode it to think, oh, it's about this politician, it's about this situation, then we're missing the point, because it's not about this empire, it's about these kind of empires. Not about this particular evil, but this kind of evils. Because Revelation isn't about one place, one thing, one war, something like that. It's about all places and all times. Anywhere the church finds itself persecuted or fought against. That's what Revelation is really all about. There's a lot to Revelation that I could say, but it's basically about remaining faithful witnesses in a world that is against us. And so it's a book that really speaks to us in our culture, in our time, just like it speaks to every culture in every time. So it would be normal and natural if you had questions about Revelation as you read it. I would love for you to ask me those questions. There will be a time in the future where I'll do some sort of teaching, whether it's a sermon series or not, or like class, lectures, Bible study on Revelation, because it's so misunderstood. People are afraid of it, and there's nothing to be afraid of. In fact, it's all about God's victory over evil and victory over death and our participation in it. Even if we are martyred, I mean, that's a lot of what Revelation's about. Even if we're martyred, we are still victorious. I love Revelation. Would love to talk to you about it. Would love to, do something about it. If you want to read about, first off, watch the Bible Project video on Revelation. It is also excellent. I'm going to recommend, though, 2 books about Revelation that I think are as good as they get. They might be difficult for you to read. They definitely require a little more time and effort and focus. The first is the easier of the 2. The first is this book. It's called Revelation for the Rest of Us by Scott McKnight. This book, it goes through it thematically, it goes through different sections. It's a lot easier to read. Not easy, but easier, and it is wonderful. I just finished this a few months ago, and I can't speak any more highly of it. The second one is more difficult to read, but I think it's the best book on Revelation that exists, by a guy named Michael Gorman. It's called Reading Revelation Responsibly. Uncivil Worship and Witness, Following the Lamb into the New Creation. It is just phenomenal. So those are the 2 books I'd recommend, but watch the Bible Project video, and you can read these chapters without getting engulfed in all of the most difficult stuff to understand. But yeah, if you have any questions, please come talk to me. I'd love to hear from you, but enjoy your week of reading from the book of Revelation.